Hello everyone and welcome to the third episode of the Value Creator Show. In this show, we basically talk only about value, the value you can create, the value you can provide for others. And this is why throughout the whole week, I'm kind of collecting different news, topics, cases to talk to you about. Because after watching these shows, hopefully for some of you, it's going to be inspiration to launch something on your own, or you'll look at specific industries that you even didn't think about earlier. So for this week, I guess let's get going now. Number one, this is going to sound ridiculous, but Casio is launching an AI pet robot. Now you might think, okay, this is some funny thing and I'm trying to be funny on this show, but hear me out first. Essentially, they're launching this pet robot, which is very similar to a real pet, right? So there's AI inside and it can behave in a certain way. You buy the pet for nearly $400, plus there's also going to be some subscription for repairs and damages for another $44 per year. But the pet will basically interact with you. It will learn the way you speak, your emotions, your feelings. And over time, the idea is, because there's literally AI, so you can say something like GPT inside with a personality on top, it will learn more things about you as you live with this pet. So the idea is that in a month, 2 months, you'll have a pet, an AI pet that will know a lot about you and it will be your real friend. And I know that potentially even sounds cringe now, but I mean, look at this video, for example. As you can see, you can pet the AI pet and it actually moves. You spend time with the pet at home, at work. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really move and like run, but it does express some feelings. It mumbles something. I'm not sure it talks, but as you can see in this video, the idea is that you'll actually have this very supportive pet friend at home. Now again, you might think I'm just trying to be funny here, but after looking at this example, at this startup, and this is not just some random startup, this is actually produced and created by Casio, I started looking into some statistics and this is what I actually found. So look at this now. People are searching for friends and these are the searches for how to meet people, meet new people, where to make friends feel lonely. And as sad as it sounds, this seems to be becoming a monumental shift in the way we behave and we live. And what's clear, I mean, if you look at 2009, people basically have become very, very lonely. Again, unfortunately. And it seems like with the whole evolution of social media, which was supposed to connect us, people are actually becoming and feeling lonely now. And as you can see, for example, where to make friends, people simply don't know now where to meet them and how to find them essentially. So this is my hypothesis. We're going to see more and more startups and products like we just saw with the AI pet by Casio. But this is just one of the examples. I think, again, just by looking at the statistics, I think there's a massive opportunity for the right people with the right ideas to create something meaningful for people. Because I do think also ignoring this issue is bad as well for people. And of course, there's this thin line. What is a ridiculous idea to capitalize on this problem? Because some people might consider even this product by Casio one of those. But if any of you can come up with a meaningful way to kind of like fill in this gap and solve this problem at least by a couple %, I think this is going to be huge. But again, the way I'm seeing and I'm looking at this problem, there's a lot of value to be created in this space specifically, because honestly, I don't think this problem is going to go away. If you have any other ideas or examples, you know, how people can actually become less lonely, let me know. I would love to see any other ideas, startups that are being created in this space. But I guess let's go now on to the next one. Number 2, just in episode 1, I was talking about the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. And what I found out this week, college students used Meta's smart glasses to dox people in real time. Basically what these students came up with, which is I think is a genius idea. So my glasses have this camera over here. So these students came up with an app to basically wear these glasses. It would record all of the people that are around them. And then the AI glasses will pass the images and the videos of those people into the app and start searching for information about these people based on the images and the videos that they've recorded. And we're going to put this on the screen as well. But as you can see, what's happening is basically using these glasses, these students are meeting people in real time and they're basically saying something like, hey, I know you, you're working on this, you are this, you live there. And people go like, yeah, that's me, this is crazy. And this is ridiculous, to be very honest with you. As much as I'm a fan of these glasses, I really think this is a massive problem that we need to address. And I think these students did a great job at creating this app and sort of doing this as a social experiment, I guess, to raise awareness. But on a very practical note, I wanted to say the following. As we can see now, over the last 10 years, at least now, with us having devices everywhere, you know, rings, watches, glasses, and I don't know, so many other devices. And on top of that now, AI and a lot of other crazy things. I think privacy is going to be a huge area where a lot of value can be created actually. And I'll use this very simple example of ad blockers. You know, we're very tired of all of these ads following us online, and now there's a lot of very successful ad blocker apps that are helping us to sort of escape those ads and just more general, a lot of privacy issues. And I think this is exactly what's going to happen in this space as well. You know, I'm just brainstorming with you on this video, but I can definitely see some device that, for example, tracks whether other people are taking a photo of you or, you know, recording a video or something else. I do think there's going to be tons of opportunity for hardware and software that basically protects your privacy. And when I say privacy, this means many things. For example, is anyone using your data now? You know, is any of your personal information online and you get to track all of that? I know that already exists a bit, I would say, but I think the space is going to be massive. Or my, you know, hypothetical device that actually tracks whether people are recording content with you in real time. I think that can be a big thing, because over the next years, privacy is going to be a huge thing. I mean, take the AR and VR glasses, you know, privacy needs to be important in that area too. So I think there's a lot of space and opportunities in that whole area. But now let's go on to the next one. This is a pretty interesting article because we also had a chat to one of our potential clients who is a head or president of one of the non-commercial sort of charity foundations for blind people. And it just happened so that I came across this article and I had a chat with him last week, and I thought, hey, this is actually a very interesting topic and area to raise on this show. So we were talking a lot about how a lot of people who are either blind or partially blind or have some other disability are actually left out from this whole, let's call it, internet world, especially now with so many apps coming out every single day and week. There's this huge problem that basically these people are not involved in these apps, even though they could be a massive target audience. And this is why if you take a look at some of these apps, for example, Accessible Go, this is an app for people to understand who are using a wheelchair, what are the most accessible areas. Interestingly enough, Google Maps came up with the same thing. So you can actually now plan a route that is wheelchair accessible, which is interesting because I do think most of the entrepreneurs, freelancers, companies are just chasing everyone, right? Because you want to be big, you want to be the next billion-dollar business. But I was looking at the numbers recently, and here's what I found, which I found very interesting actually. In 2020, there were approximately 43 million people who were blind and 295 million people who had moderate to severe visual impairment. So that in total, you could say at least is 340 million. And then I looked at, for example, people having some disabilities or hearing problems, and the numbers show that that is around 430 million in total. And even that number is very much underestimated, which is clearly showing, look, if you have a lot of people who are basically working, they're doing exactly what all of us are doing, they're living a normal life, but it just happens so that a lot of the apps, a lot of the things in this physical, digital, especially digital world that are created, they're not adapted to their needs. And again, I mean, the way I look at this, and especially after talking to one of the presidents of these foundations, I actually understood that the audience is massive. And if you can provide basically the same app, but adapted to their needs, I think people are going to be really thankful. I do think, as I said, there's a lot of value to be created in this space simply because no one is really taking note of this space and just thinking, oh, okay, I'll chase the big market. I think this is not even a micro niche. I think this is a massive space for pretty much anyone, you know, no matter whether you're a designer. You know, again, if you're a designer, then the way you design an app for blind or partially blind people, that's going to be different. And maybe then you go on and pitch this alternative app to any of the companies and say, hey guys, I know you're losing a lot of money because people who are blind can't use your app. So you can use this analogy for pretty much any space and any job really. But yeah, again, I do think this is a massive opportunity out there. Now let's get on to the next one, which I found again very interesting. Not something you would probably think deserves to be in the show, but there's an influencer in the UK, influencer entrepreneur Stephen Bartlett, who just launched Flight Books. So this is a very modern day entrepreneur. He has a marketing agency, and recently he launched Flight Books, which is basically going to be a publishing studio. And what was even more interesting is that he used the example of CDs and vinyl discs to actually predict that books are going to come back in the future. And I was then looking at the numbers and I saw that, okay, print book sales fell by 2.6% 2023, but then I looked at the vinyl revival, what it's called now. So just in 2022, there were sold as many vinyls as there were sold in 1990, which is pretty insane because it's a very interesting trend where everything everything's going down, and at some point, probably in 2000s, you would think, okay, vinyl is now fully gone and there's no comeback. And now with vinyl coming back, we can see that, okay, it's actually already reaching the numbers that it had in the 1990s. And Stephen Bartlett, by opening this new company, Flight Books, trying to build a big business around it, is trying to achieve exactly the same thing. He's thinking that books are going to decline, which is good for him because there's going to be less competition in the market because there's less sales essentially. But over time, books will be coming back, similar to this analogy with vinyl, which got me thinking, potentially there's a lot of opportunity in other similar spaces and physical products where something that is declining now, if there's a strong community around it, if there's a strong desire to consume that product, maybe it's coming back in 10, 20 years. And of course, this is a very long-term game. I'm not saying you should launch something ASAP today because I think it's going to be hard even for him to get this publishing business growing and growing. But I do think there's a lot of space in looking at something that is declining in popularity and trying to actually capitalize on it from a, I guess, more modern and fresh angle, with the hope that in the next 5, 10 years, that segment would be actually growing back again and again. I don't know. Again, I'm just trying to look at different trends, and I think this one definitely deserves to be on the show. But let me know what you think. Do you think this sort of vinyl and books analogy is real, or do you think this is some kind of like very quick comeback and then it's going to decline again? Or are people going to go back to using, let's call it, old stuff or more traditional stuff the way it used to be? I don't know. I really don't have an answer. But to finish off this show, let me talk about GPT Engineer, which I think is very interesting and very practical and very simple for you to understand. A lot of you out there want to build something, especially when it comes to software or tech. A lot of you are thinking, look, I really want to do something, but this is not for me. So I found this tool and I was testing it the other day, GPT Engineer, which I think is amazing. You don't need to be a guru. You don't need to be a pro at coding, developing, or anything like that. All you have to do is go to gptengineer.app. And as you can see, it straight away gives some examples and it gives you suggestions. So you can literally code by typing what you need. So I don't know, let me just, for example, click on this one. So I'm going and saying, prototype the user interface for dashboard to track my startup's operations, user sidebar and navbar layout to navigate between all sections, add some data visualizations. And obviously you can add more details, you can be more specific about what specifically you need and stuff like that. But I found it very, very cool that for someone who just understands how to describe the ideas, could actually now go into this. So you would then export this code, you upload it to another app, click publish it live, and that's it. This is something that obviously I'm trying to simplify for you. You'll have to play around with this and spend a couple of hours at least to understand how it works and like how to actually use it. But I do think, again, apps like these are removing the excuse of not being tech savvy enough, because here you can describe the things, keep improving them, keep adding more details. You copy the code, you upload it to another app, you publish it, that's it. I think this is actually genius, again, because as you can see, basically now on my screen, you can see this sort of ready app, or at least screen, that has everything that I've just described using plain English. I think this is amazing. Again, for someone out there who doesn't code, wants to launch something or wants to test something and doesn't have the team, the budget, or just want to play around, I think this is massive. A lot of value, again, can be created by simply using apps like these. And this is basically it for today. I hope at least some of it was helpful. I'll keep exploring new ways to create value and hopefully find something interesting for you for the next episode. But I just genuinely appreciate you watching this show. Please leave any feedback, any ideas, any suggestions. And again, thanks for watching and have a great day.